Hello, principal and school board. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me, but out of respect to your time, I'll jump right into it. It's clear that there exist inequities between students. Some of these inequities are natural, and some are exacerbated by outside cultural, sociological, um, a myriad of factors. For example, some of my students already have, in the 10th grade, high school that I teach, already have LinkedIn profiles, which is fairly ridiculous. However, some of my other students, unfamiliar with those types of online resources, or maybe whose parents don't use them, maybe that's not widely used from if they're an immigrant or or their families from a different culture. If LinkedIn isn't used that heavily, they're being left out of a very important opportunity. I think we all know the benefits LinkedIn can provide to someone trying to find a job, trying to make connections, which can be crucial. The reason I introduced the issue of inequity is because I want to discuss it and how it relates to the quality of education of immigrant students, or rather, the inequity in their quality of education. Now, immigrant students are impacted by an inequity in digital use in education. Now, a subgroup within that group that is especially affected are immigrant students who English is not their first language. However, it's not just a language barrier, and it's not just lacking the resources for technology at home. It's much more complex. The study found that immigrant students are incredibly adversely affected by three main factors. The first is that many of them suffer socially, which then in turn affects their education as a result of them being overage for whatever grade level they're in. The second is poverty. Now, this is distinct from not having sufficient financial resources for technology. This means that they are within the poverty level, which brings within themselves a slew of related issues affecting that child on their day-to-day life, which in turn affects the quality of their education. Lastly, immigrant students are at a higher likelihood to be student workers than their non-immigrant counterparts. And this is pretty straightforward how it can negatively affect their education. If other students have the free time to engage and develop certain academic, intellectual, digital, multimedia skills for fun and engage with them for pleasure, whereas a student worker may only be able to engage with this, may only have the free time to engage with this purely for professional or academic interests, there's going to be a difference in the way and the eagerness with which either student approaches those educational opportunities. Lastly, it's not just that these students are workers. It's the fact that many of them also lack family members at home familiar with these technologies, able to mentor or guide them through them, where their non-immigrant counterparts in the US may be very familiar with these technologies. While the two lists differ in content sometimes, there are two underlying themes common to either, and both. The first, that school culture needs to shape how technology is used if the school genuinely wants to fully be able to integrate it with its students and its educators. Now, the way I will go about applying this theme to my future classes is not too complicated. I'm going to be seeking to integrate technology, not impose it. So I will be very open with my students, trying out different and new platforms, engaging with them, and also I will have them turn in reflections for me, not for a grade, simply so that I can understand how much they've learned from that section and whether or not that media was particularly useful, and if that media could be useful with some extra instruction. Moreover, the second theme common to both of these lists is that in order to show students the incredible opportunities associated with digital literacy, media literacy, combining digital and media concepts with education, the way you show them the associated positive opportunities is by giving them associated positive opportunities. Whenever integrating technology in my classes, I'll do what my high school professors did for me and pull out an offer that I'll have study hours for my students, however many want to come in, and we can run it for however long as they want, within reason, of course, and within the time frame of the school day, but where I can work one-on-one with technology if they are struggling. Now, I believe these two concrete ways of applying grander themes in modern issues in equity and education will help all my students, but it will especially help those disenfranchised by the inequities in technology and education, especially immigrant children, especially those who English isn't their first language. I hope you strongly consider my proposal.